Do you know the top 5 safety tips for airplane travel? Let's dive into this topic together, unraveling the essential safety measures every traveler should be aware of. Whether you're a seasoned jet setter or stepping foot on a plane for the first time, these tips are for you. We're going to explore in depth the top 5 safety tips that can make your airplane travel safer and more comfortable. So, fasten your seatbelts and prepare for takeoff. Stay tuned to find out the top 5 safety tips for airplane travel. Coming in at number 5, we have stay hydrated. Let's talk about hydration. You see, when you're soaring high above the clouds, the air in that cabin is a lot drier than what you're used to on the ground. This can lead to dehydration, which tends to sneak up on you. You might not notice it at first, but as time ticks by, you might start feeling a bit off. You could feel tired, your skin might dry out, your eyes might get itchy, and you might even get a headache. That's your body telling you it's thirsty. Now, dehydration is more than just feeling a bit parched. It can lead to fatigue, which is the last thing you want when you're traveling. You want to be alert and ready to go when you land, not feeling like you've run a marathon. Dehydration can also cause dry skin and other health issues, like those pesky headaches I mentioned earlier. So, how can you combat this? Well, the answer is simple. Drink water. And I mean drink lots of it. I'm talking about more than you think you need. You see, that dry air is going to be sapping moisture from your body constantly, so you need to replenish it. And no, that doesn't mean reaching for another cup of coffee or a can of soda. Caffeine and alcohol can actually dehydrate you further, so it's best to stick with water. You might be thinking, but I don't want to keep getting up to use the restroom. Well, that's a small price to pay for staying healthy and hydrated. Plus, it gives you a chance to stretch your legs, so don't be shy about asking the flight attendant for a refill on your water bottle. They're there to help, and they understand the importance of hydration. In a nutshell, staying hydrated while flying is essential. It keeps you feeling good, looking good, and ready to hit the ground running at your destination. Remember, staying hydrated is key to a comfortable and safe flight. At number 4, we suggest move around. You know that feeling of restlessness you get when you've been sitting for too long? That's your body's way of telling you it needs to move. Now, imagine sitting for hours on an airplane with limited space to stretch. Your body needs movement even more. It's not just about comfort, it's about health. You see, when we sit for extended periods, especially in cramped spaces, blood flow in our legs can slow down. This can create a perfect storm for blood clots to form, a condition known as deep vein thrombosis or DVT. It's a serious condition that can lead to complications, including pulmonary embolism, a blockage in the lungs. And while it's relatively rare, the risk increases during long-haul flights. But don't worry, you can reduce this risk by simply moving around. It doesn't have to be a marathon or even a sprint. Just a leisurely stroll down the aisle every hour or so can do wonders for your circulation. You can also stretch and flex your calf muscles while seated. Try lifting your heels while keeping your toes on the floor. Then lift your toes while keeping your heels on the floor. Repeat these exercises 10 times each, every hour. If you're concerned about disturbing other passengers or getting in the way of the cabin crew, you can do these movements discreetly in your seat. Or better yet, take advantage of the time when most passengers are asleep or the crew is not serving meals. And remember, it's not just about avoiding DVT. Moving around can also help reduce stiffness, swelling, and even jet lag. So as you prepare for your next flight, remember to pack your essentials, hydrate, and include movement in your flight plan. It's a simple step that can make a big difference in your travel experience. So don't forget to get up and move around every once in a while during your flight. Number 3 on our list is follow safety instructions. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've flown a dozen times, maybe more. You've heard the safety spiel so many times, you could probably recite it in your sleep. But here's the thing, folks. No matter how many times you've flown, those safety instructions are crucial. You see, every aircraft is different. Just like every car on the road isn't the same, every plane in the sky has its own unique features. The safety instructions given at the start of each flight are specific to the aircraft you're on. So, even if you're a frequent flyer, it's worth paying attention. Those instructions aren't there to fill time or to give the flight attendant something to do. They're there because, in the unlikely event of an emergency, they could save your life. Take the brace position, for instance. It's not something we do in our everyday lives, but in an emergency landing, it could prevent serious injury. Or consider the oxygen masks. If the cabin pressure drops, getting that mask on quickly is vital. Sure, it's not a scenario any of us want to contemplate, but it's better to know what to do and not need it than need it and not know what to do. And let's not forget about the life vests and the location of the emergency exits. Most of us hope we'll never have to use them, but in a water landing, they're your best chance of getting out safely. And remember, those exits might be behind you. So take a moment to look around and count the rows. In short, those safety instructions are there for a reason. They're not just a list of do's and don'ts. They're a guide to help you stay safe in the air. They're based on years of research and real-life experiences, so the next time you're on a flight, instead of tuning out the safety demonstration, tune in. Always remember, safety instructions are there for your protection. Our second tip is secure your belongings. Now we've all been on a flight where suddenly the plane jolts and items go flying. Not only is this a nuisance, but it can also be downright dangerous. Unsecured items can become projectiles during turbulence, causing injuries to you or your fellow passengers. So how can we avoid this unwanted flying object scenario? The answer is simple. Secure your belongings. First off, let's talk about your carry-on luggage. These should be stowed away in the overhead compartments or under the seat in front of you. Be sure to push them all the way back to ensure they don't roll out during flight. Next up, personal items. Smaller items such as books, tablets, or water bottles should be safely tucked inside the seat pocket in front of you. However, be mindful not to overstuff the pocket, as items can still fall out if not properly secured. And what about those loose items you might be holding when turbulence hits? Well, if you feel or hear the captain's announcement about upcoming turbulence, it's a good idea to quickly stow away any items you have out. Remember, the air inside an airplane can be just as unpredictable as the weather outside. So it's always best to be prepared and secure your belongings. Securing your belongings properly can prevent unnecessary accidents. Now that's a tip worth remembering. And the number one tip is wear your seatbelt. Now you might be thinking, I've heard this a million times before, why is it so important? Well, let me tell you, it's not just about following the rules, it's about your safety. Airplanes are pretty steady birds in the sky, but they're not immune to air pockets or weather disturbances. This is where the seatbelt comes into play. Just like in a car, a seatbelt in an airplane serves the same purpose, to keep you safe. But instead of protecting you from car accidents, airplane seatbelts guard you against the effects of turbulence. Turbulence, which is essentially air movement that normally cannot be seen, can cause an aircraft to jolt unexpectedly. If you're not wearing your seatbelt, you could be thrown against the roof or worse, into other passengers. But let's not forget the unlikely event of an emergency. In such cases, a seatbelt could be the difference between life and death. It keeps you firmly in your seat, preventing you from being tossed around the cabin, and allows the crew to focus on handling the situation instead of managing unbuckled passengers. So, whether it's a short hop or a long haul, remember this. The seatbelt isn't just a strip of fabric, it's a lifeline. It's there to protect you, to secure you, and to give you the best chance of walking away from any unexpected event. So, always remember to buckle up as soon as you take your seat. And there you have it, the top 5 safety tips for airplane travel. We've covered the importance of staying hydrated, moving around to avoid stiffness, following safety instructions meticulously, securing your belongings, and the non-negotiable rule of wearing your seatbelt at all times. Each of these points plays a crucial role in keeping you safe and comfortable during your flight. So the next time you're up in the air, remember these tips. Keep these tips in mind for your next flight to ensure a safe and enjoyable journey. Safe travels.